Well, no, not yet. So for all I know, I might not be in it.
Last season.
What, last season? They gave me scripts for last season, yeah, obviously. But
Were you dying?
I died last season.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm dying. Yes, I'm dead last season. So it's all good. What is dead may never die, yeah. I'll just say that, that'll cheer you guys up. Yeah, it's all good.
Goddamn Greyjoy. He's refusing to tell the story of how Bran killed you.
Oh yeah, David and Dan wrote a fake script for me, which is quite funny. They gave me a script and I got killed by Bran in it. And I thought it was amazing. Like, I thought, what a great way to go. And I didn't say anything to them. I think they were kind of expecting me to sort of like kick off about it. Yeah, I just cried. Yeah, exactly. Well, I kind of went on holiday, and then about 3 weeks later, I got a call. I was sitting on a beach, chilling out, and yeah, they called me up and they're like, so, like, how do you like your new ending? And I was like, oh, it's cool, guys. It's like, it's your show. It's fine. They're like, okay, cool. Like, we got another thing for you. How do you feel being a zombie? Yeah, all right, that'll be fine. They're like, no, hold on. How do you feel being a naked zombie with absolutely no dialogue whatsoever? And I was like, okay, guys, I think you're having me on. But it was funny, it was cool. Like, they're just pranksters, David and Dan. They're my mates, you know what I mean? So.
All right. Speaking of Bran, before I forget here, I understand, I can't really see from here, but I hear that Hodor is somewhere in our audience. Christian, are you here? Can you stand up if you are here? Christian here plays Hodor. He's still learning his line. He's polishing it all the time, but I did notice in the last show of the season, he seems to have moved Bran into a cart. Isaac stubbornly keeps on growing, and so far he may wind up being bigger than Christian by the end of the show at the present rate, which would be a challenge. Rose.
Yes.
Your previous show was Downton Abbey. Where you played a very different sort of character.
Very different character, yeah.
So, like, I can't help but wonder what would happen if Gwen and Ygritte, like, changed places. How would Gwen do Beyond the Wall?
Ooh.
What would Ygritte do at Downton Abbey?
Yeah, I think Ygritte at Downton Abbey would be far more entertaining than Gwen Beyond the Wall. I think Gwen Beyond the Wall would probably die pretty quickly. I don't think she'd be able to survive that. But yeah, Ygritte in Downton would be hilarious. Betrays and making beds. Don't think she'd be very good at it.
I don't think she'd go for that whole tugging your forelock kind of stuff, though. With the, the free speech and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Michelle, I know a lot of the fans have been thrilled this season by some of the work you did with Natalie and with Bran, with Gwendolyn Christie.
Oh, lovely Gwen, yes.
Yeah, how was working on some of those scenes?
They were great, George, because they're so well written, courtesy of yourself and David and Dan and the guys. And Gwen's just brilliant. She wants to get stuck in, and she's got so much armor on as well. That is like a lot of her scenes are fighting scenes with swords and things like that. But she's already carrying like so much extra weight through this, because the armor it's not fake or foam. It's actually real metal. And then underneath it, they have like iron chains as well, so that it's all very authentic. So she's literally like, she can't walk. And then she has to swing a sword as well. And those scenes are so well choreographed, and she's wonderful, and she's become a really good friend as well. So we just have a real laugh together, actually. And concentrate when we have to.
Richard, one of the things that the fans ask me about all the time is the dire wolves. And, you know, you had some great moments with Grey Wind there this season in Jamie's cell.
Yeah.
Was that a CGI, or was that a wolf, or was that the dogs from first season? What kind of wolf was Grey Wind this season?
I get asked that quite a lot. People saying, "What's it like filming with that dire wolf?" And I mean, if it was real, I would be terrified. To be honest. It's up to my shoulder. Of course, it's not real. But it's a fantastic silver ball on the end of a big wooden stick. I just get told where to put my hands and how high, and then where I tickle them behind the ear and stuff like that. So it's a different challenge than actually having an animal. I know Amelia had life-size replicas of your dragons, right? Whereas I just have a massive silver ball. And sometimes we have a big stuffed teddy bear dire wolf, which is not fierce at all. It's just like a cuddly toy.
Do you have life-size dragons, or do you have replica dragons this season?
When we
Not the little fluffy green balls that you had the first.
No, that was just for season 1. I had a kind of a lime green sausage, really.
Right.
Which they really sweetly put a face on for me.
But it had glowing eyes.
Pardon?
It had glowing eyes. I remember seeing it.
Yes. Exactly. And then in season 2, we had, for the camera rehearsals, we had, life-scale dragon models that I got very protective over. Kind of in there. When we weren't filming, would sort of be sat with them. Alarming.
So, you had some great stuff in the House of the Undying this season.
Yeah.
You finally got to see the throne room?
Yes. I was saying, it was amazing getting to film there, because I don't get to. I don't get to be anywhere near there, so it was really fun to go in and sort of get so close to the throne.
And we saw the dream return of Khal Drogo and your baby.
I know, my Khal.
How was that, working with that?
It was amazing. It was incredible. It was just so wonderful. It was so wonderful. Walking into the tent, it was like coming home. It was,
And the baby?
And the baby, It was, quite funny, because I'm actually her kind of surrogate aunt. She's called Ren. She's beautiful. And she didn't really like filming with me. So it was quite impressed that they managed to get as many shots as they did. And she also liked to break wind quite a lot. Good for the focus.
But we finally got to see it, so
exactly.
Important thing, yes.
Yeah. So
did you like Karth?
Yeah.
Dubrovnik, it was all shot in Dubrovnik.
Dubrovnik was amazing, so beautiful. Croatia is just incredible, absolutely incredible. Yeah, I really loved it.
All right, well, why don't we throw this open? I know many of you have questions, and we can take a few of them before our hour is up. So we have microphones, and here we go.
Mr. Martin, just let me thank you for creating such an amazing and intricate world and bringing it to us. But my question is actually for the panel. What was the most enjoyable scene to film this season?
Most enjoyable scene you filmed this season?
Ooh.
Shall I start?
Anyone have any fun at all?
I liked my last scene. I really enjoyed doing that. It was the sort of speech. And it was funny, it was good. Sort of getting knocked out, it was great. But that was definitely my most enjoyable scene. I just sort of loved the whole vibe of it. When David and Dan gave it to me, I was just so excited.
So you like getting hit in the head very hard, better than all the naked sex scenes with the hot women?
Well, it's more the acting, George, you know?
As a professional.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, if you want me to say that, I love having sex on TV.
Anyone else?
I loved working with Richard, because last year I had a lot of scenes with Richard, and we seemed to live in a tent. So, I think my favourite one was the last one that we did with Alan Taylor, where I had to reminisce with you, and then you basically told me, no.
Yeah.
So I love that one, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to be specific about it, but all of the scenes I get with Michelle, I adore. They're my favourite scenes. I love working with her, and the writing is amazing for us. We have such a complexity, just like the characters in the books, and David and Dan have brought that out, and we have a great time in our tents. We're always in a tent. But every one of them is my pleasure.
No, fully clothed. He is my son.
All right, do we have a next question?
Hi. How do you enjoy wearing the amazing costumes on the show, and how does it help you get into character?
I love wearing my costume. It affects everything. With Rob, it's one of the best things at the start of the day. When I'm in all my armour and my leather and fur, it changes the way I walk. So that leads into helping me play the character, changes the way I breathe, so that changes how my voice is when I'm acting. So it's one of my favourite things. I mean, when I first got it, it was awesome. And then, you know, kind of day 39 of filming, and it's 4 AM and it's freezing, and you're putting on the costume that still stinks from yesterday's horse riding. You're like, this costume's a drag. But then as soon as it's on and you're walking about and you've got your sword, it's a dream. It's one of the best things that I get to do first thing, is get into character with the costume.
Michelle Clapton, who is the costume designer, is just a genius. And she works with an amazing team of people. Her mind and the research she puts into every costume, every character, every tribe.
The details.
It's incredible, and it's a joy. And because it's on television, you can't focus in on it so clearly, but the detail, the embroidery, everything is just down to it's
tiny fastenings,
perfect. And it's just a delight and a privilege to wear some of her designs. It's wonderful.
I know one couple of costume-related questions that the fans have occasionally asked me, Rose, is one question is, beyond the wall, why doesn't anyone wear their hats? Don't your ears get cold up there?
Hats. I know, I was so lucky though with my hood, because I had a hood for my costume, and I would keep it up and put it just up whenever I could, just because the wind was pretty ferocious up there, kind of like on the top of the mountains and stuff. But no, I was very, very happy to have that hood. But nobody wore a hat, apart from Simon, who played Corin Halfhand. He knew what he was doing. Yeah, he kept his hat on, he never took it off. Fairly jealous of him.
And of course, my 13-year-old colleague, the producer in charge of boobies, must have fallen down on the job in Carth, because someone has changed the design of the Carthian gown that is described in the book. How did that happen?
No. Well, I mean, I for one just enjoyed wearing the costume for season 2. That was good. We did change it slightly so that we were a bit more warm.
Oh, I see. It was a warmth issue. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, all right. Yeah. Speaking of costumes, here. Yes.
Hello. I was wondering, if you had your own sigil, what would it be? It's for the whole family. And Rose, if you could tell me that I know nothing.
You know nothing. Nothing!
If you had a sigil, what would it be?
An Arsenal badge.
I picked mine, it's an ostrich, it's on the show.
I'd be a wolf, definitely a wolf, maybe I will pass a wolf, for sure.
I'd go for a horse, I think. Yeah, a beautiful horse.
I will go for an eagle. I think I'll have an eagle.
I think I'm just going to stick with my dragon. that.
You can't go wrong with dragons.
It's true.
Stick with the dragons. Yes.
Hi, my name is Kendra, and Richard, you're beautiful. But my question is, what's your favorite place to film and why? Because everything's just so beautiful.
Thank you very much. Now you made me shy. My favorite place to film was Winterfell. All of those sets were amazing. They're so authentic, and they burn incense when you were filming in there, so each part of the set smells different. It's got a unique smell, and when there's food laid out, you can taste it. It's also detailed and intricate. So when I'm in Winterfell, that's when I was at my happiest. I think that's probably a parallel with the character as well. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Great show. Heartfelt thanks. I wanted to ask, the closest example I could give is the original Star Trek and how they would have an episode about racism and talk about something contemporary. And I personally feel like, at times, a sword in the darkness and in service to the heavenly kingdom. And I get a lot out of the episodes, and I just wanted to know from anyone who wanted to chime in about if you think some of these episodes are talking about some of the darkness today.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's what's one of the wonderful things about Game of Thrones is that you can. It is incredibly relevant. I think that's one of the reasons why it's so brilliantly successful, is that it deals with issues that everyone is handling with today, with family, envy, jealousy and love, and death. War and death, exactly. And I think everyone deals with all of those issues in each of their plot lines, in each of their characters, and that comes from George and then also from David and Dan as well. It's just the whole thing is so beautifully written that I think shines through.
I mean, I think one of the things that what made me respond to it initially was, so often that fantasy shows are simply good versus evil. And what I think George managed to create in his characters were very complex human characters. And I think what you are responding to are really complex human emotion, which is what drives, everything. And I think that's what the show brings out. It's not just the production value and shooting in 4 different countries and the costumes and all that, but what it boils down to are complex stories, really well told, acted beautifully. And that's what all great drama is. And so I think that's what resounds.
J.R. Tolkien always resisted the idea that Lord of the Rings was allegory. Which people sometimes said that it was an allegory of World War II or whatever, and that always made him angry. He rejected that. And I think rightly so, and I also don't think my books are meant to be any sort of veiled statement or direct statement on current political controversies, which is not to say that there isn't political content or moral or ethical content in them. There is. I mean, my hallmark as a writer has always been the words that William Faulkner said in his Nobel Prize acceptance speech, which was that the only thing worth writing about is the human heart in conflict with itself. And that's what I try to make my books about, and I think that's very much what Game of Thrones, the television show, is about: the human heart in conflict with itself. The swords, the dragons, the magic, the castles, all of that is exciting, but at the heart of the story is the characters. Alicia, you have a question?
You look awesome. Thank you.
Now, in the Game of Thrones universe, the characters aren't always as morally pure as in other, series, novels, anything. So when you're playing the character, how do you justify these decisions, that normal people would kind of balk at?
I don't know. I'm speaking for on behalf of Dany. I kind of feel like every choice that she makes is morally justified, and I think that Yeah, I mean, I understand that, but it's also because all of the characters are so well-rounded and so complex, it's never a matter of right or wrong, or it's never a matter of kind of one thing versus the other. I think that it's incredibly circumstantial, and I think that's kind of the beauty of it. That's why each character is so rich. So, yeah, I hope that's answered your question.
I think, you know, the fact that some of these issues do provoke debates among the fans, some of the decisions of the characters, pleases me, because I think, you know, fiction and entertainment should be morally complex. I mean, you know, we all enjoy a science fiction movie where horrible squids come down from space and they're going to eat us all, and Earthmen band together and kill the horrible squids, but there are a few deep moral questions there. It's, to my mind, it's much more interesting if you debate, you know, did Dany do right or wrong when she imprisons Arazon Doxos and Dorea in the vault at the end? You know, is Jon Snow doing the right thing or the wrong thing when he kills Qhorin Halfhand? You know, what's happening with, you know, when Robb marries and when Catelyn frees Jaime, all of these issues, and of course Theon is just a whole bundle of wonderful choices and
winners like history, George. You know what I mean?
So, you know, these things can all be argued, and that's to my mind much more fun than fighting squids from space. Yes.
Yeah, I came here all the way from Iceland, and Rose.
Your country is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, the North send their regards. I came here actually to ask George a question. I've noticed over the years that you have a turtle sigil on your hat.
Yes.
And I was wondering if that was related to your first work, where you talk about yourself as a turtle, living your own life.
Well, in a way it is. Yes, turtles have always been my sigil, I suppose. When I was a kid growing up in Bayonne, New Jersey, I lived in a federal housing project. And we were not, because it was a housing project, we were not allowed to have traditional pets. I was not allowed to have a dog. We were not allowed to have cats in the apartments. So the only pets I could have were turtles. So I had an entire toy castle filled with dime store turtles. And I gave them all names. And since they were living in a toy castle, I decided they were all knights and kings. And I made up stories about how they killed each other and betrayed each other. So Game of Thrones actually began with turtles, but I decided to recast it with actual human beings. It wouldn't be the same if all these guys were wearing turtle costumes.
We can give it a go.
But that's the origin of the turtle thing, yes.
Hi, I'm also from the freeze your ass off country. Well, I was just wondering if the actors have actually read the book and whether they added any personal touches to the characters according to how they experienced them.
We have read the books.
Have you read the books and added touches to the characters?
Yeah. We're trying to, some of the actors don't, some of the actors like to stay away from it, I think, because the show is a different beast to the books. But for me as an actor, I like, it's great source material. That's where it came from, and that's why I try, and I think the cast would agree, we want to try and make it as honest as we can to George's work. That's where it comes from, and that's where we want to kind of research. It's a gift as an actor to have an amazing script that comes from amazing source material. So we really try and get into it as much as we can. I read season by season to not preempt myself, to try and keep the surprises coming for me, so that hopefully it transfers on to you guys watching the show. You get as surprised as I do when a decision's made or something changes. But the books are great. We just love to read them anyway.
Yeah, and they're great to have, because sometimes, you know, you're not always 100% sure what you're doing as an actor, so that's the nature of the process. So if you have material like George's novels and the way he writes in the novels as well, you know, he gives you the thought process sometimes of what the character's going through and the torment and the you know, the dialogue that they might be having internally. So you can use that and utilize that with David and Dan's or Brian's, whoever's written the script at the time. And it's all about layering, just getting yourself immersed in it. You have to understand what you're saying, otherwise it won't come across.
All right, so we have time for one more question. One last question.
Hi, my name is Linda, and my question is for Amelia. It's so easy to love your character, to root for her, to see her as fierce and indestructible. But as you live with her, what do you see are her vulnerabilities and insecurities?
Well, I think she's got a huge amount of them, actually. I think that that's what we saw, excuse me, in season 2, is you saw her self-doubt. And I think it's something that she comes up against and comes up against and comes up against. And it's because she is so protective over her people and over her children, her dragons, that she needs to be as strong as she can and not show her fear. But she definitely feels it, and that's kind of one of the beautiful things about the character that keeps her human and that keeps her kind of linked in with something very real and very kind of noble, I think, as opposed to just being wanting the throne for the throne's sake.
And before we close here, I'm told that we have one last little very brief treat for you.